Your friends are scrolling through short content, but you, my friend, you're here to learn. Welcome to Yana's Clips. I want to know about the scriptures. Those three that you named.
Okay.
I've heard people on the show speak about it, but I've never really deep dived into it. What do you gain by like reading scriptures? Firstly, that's a general question. And then specifics about these.
Okay. So, see, scriptures are very, very multi-layered readings. When you start reading, you read them at a story level. So I'll take example of Durga Saptashati.
Sure.
Durga Saptashati is 700 verses from Markandeya Puran, which talks about three different swarups of Devi. There are three stories in that.
What is Markandeya Puran?
It's a Puran. There are 18 Mahapuranas, so it's one of the 18 Mahapuranas.
What is a Purana?
Puran. Okay, that's a... You want me to answer a technical answer to that? There's a technical answer.
Whatever you wish, ma'am.
So, technical answer is that a Puran is a... So, you know the Shruti Smriti texts?
No.
Okay. So, Indian scriptures can be broadly classified into two segments, Shruti texts and Smriti texts.
Okay.
So, Shruti texts are Vedas and Vedangas, okay, which are universal truths. Basically, philosophies, universal truths. And then there are Smriti texts, which are, Smriti literally means memories. So these are memories. They've come in the story form. They say more or less the same thing, but Puranas are far more simplified version of Shruti texts.
Okay.
So Shruti, Smriti are two broad classifications of our text. And in the Smriti texts, primarily there are 18 Mahapuranas and many, many Puranas. And Ramayana and Mahabharata are our Itihasa. Itihas is how it happened. It simply means this is how it happened. So 18 Mahapuranas, one of them is Markandeya Purana.
Who's Markandeya?
Markandeya was a rishi.
Okay.
He was one of the great rishis. Okay. So I'll come back to this because if we digress into rishis, then we'll go on another thing.
No, that's the next segment.
Okay.
But go on.
So in Durga Saptashati is like 700 verses, pretty much like Bhagavad Gita in Mahabharata. It is a text which talks about three primary forms of Devi, which is Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, which are different from Kali, Lakshmi, Saraswati. Okay, so it talks about these three through three stories.
How is it different?
I'll come to that. So these three stories are in a conversation of three people. So there is a rishi called Medha Rishi. Okay, Medha means intellect. So there is a rishi by the name who lives in a jungle. Then there is a king called Surat. Surat means somebody with a good body, beautiful body. He is a king who's lost his kingdom. And there is a Vaishya, a trader, a wealthy merchant by the name Samadhi. Samadhi means Samadhi. So Medha, Surat, Samadhi, they meet in a jungle. Both the merchant and the king have lost everything they have and they've come to the jungle and they have a lot of questions. When you've lost everything, you have a lot of questions. They come with those questions to the rishi, and in answer to their questions, the rishi tells them these three stories of the Devi. In the first one, she's in the Mahakali Swarup. That's the story of killing of Madhu and Kaitab Asuras. There are two Asuras, I don't want to use the word demons, they are Asuras. So it's the killing of Madhu and Kaitab by Vishnu, but facilitated by Devi in her Mahakali avatar. The second story is the killing of Mahishasur in the Devi's Mahalakshmi avatar. And the third is the story of killing of Shumbh and Nishumbh Rakshas in her Mahasaraswati form. So these are three segments and they represent three gunas, they represent three different triads in many, many ways. So at a base level, when you start, it's just a story of killing of three sets of asuras. When you start diving into it, it reveals a lot of things. For example, it reveals you your inner demons, your inner asuras, So like the first story will point you to your tamas, your laziness, your inaction, all the tamasic pravrittis that we have inside. The second one is rajas, where in action, you're too active. Sometimes too much of rajas becomes a problem. In fact, we have a lot of tirthas which are called viraja. there is a Birja Devi. She's in a place called Jajpur in Odisha.
Tirtha is like temple?
Tirtha is more than a temple. It's a sacred space.
A part of a geographical location.
It can be a geographical location. I can talk about what are tirthas I can do a complete podcast on what is a tirtha.
It's going to be a long conversation today. But let's go on.
So I was talking about that Virja means Raj. Rajas is too much. Then you get rid of that Raj. Then the third part of that Durga Saptashati is about things which we typically call Shad Ripus, the 6 enemies that we have inside, like envy, greed, the 6 of those. How do you fight them? And then, of course, if you go much, much deeper, it will reveal you a lot of cosmic stuff, the cosmic. So I am also still learning it, reading it, learning it. I conduct a workshop on it every Navaratri, a free workshop as an introduction to this text on anybody who wants to get not initiated as in a formal initiation, but in reading and understanding it.
But initiated into what?
Into reading. I want people to read original scriptures. I want, because there are a lot of authors writing interpretations of this, but they'll always be their interpretations dictated by their circumstances, this thing, and also sometimes by the commercial reasons. For some reason, we have started believing that our scriptures are something very distant that we cannot read. And in last 7-8 years that I have read, I get up in the morning, I spend 1.5 to 2 hours reading scriptures in original Sanskrit with Hindi. I have found there's so much meaning and there's so much learning when you read them in original, which you will never get in a commentary, never in an English commentary, because the words are not there. The amount of meaning the words carry in Indian languages, and you can read any Indian languages because Indian languages are not very different from each other. They look very different, but they're not really. And I'll give you an example of how. What comes to your mind when I say haldi?
Turmeric.
What else?
Milk.
Okay.
Food.
Okay.
Yellow.
And you also think of a haldi ceremony.
Yeah.
You think of that haldi doodh that your mother gives when you are, or you putting a haldi on it. It gives a sense of auspiciousness, anything, because at least in Maharashtra, you have ceremonies like haldi kumkum. If you've not performed, you've heard of them. But would you get the same if I say turmeric? You probably won't get that auspicious. Then it'll be like a spice in your kitchen cabinet. So a lot of cultural connotations are lost when you read them in a language which is not Indian.
You're saying because the sound of the words affects...
No, there are a lot of cultural nuances associated with that.
Okay.
The cultural connotations associated with that. Even in our cultural consciousness that we've inherited, we know that. If somebody says haldi ke liye aana, you would know that it is for an auspicious purpose and not a spice in the kitchen.
Okay, fair.
Kind of thing. So a lot of these things are lost, and we have multiple words. The amount of words we have for fire, for agni, for jal, for clouds, for every stage of cloud. How many types of fire have we learnt about?
How many types of fire have we learnt about? There's different types of fire.
Yeah. So, for example, there's a normal fire that we light. There's a fire in the water.
What?
There's a fire in the water. What is lightning? Where does lightning come from? It comes from water, right? It comes from clouds. There's fire in your tummy. There's a belly, Jatharagni, which digests all your food. And I'm talking about few that I know of. I don't remember all of them. Similarly, water. There are different kinds of water it talks about, So you have words like tushar, which essentially means the water that you get from snow. There's water that you get from sand. There's water that you get from and we have different. So a lot of those nuances are lost when you don't read the original.
It's probably the outcomes of a slightly longer existing culture. When human culture just exists for that long, you figure out these nuances about the real world.
Yes.
Okay. I want to bring you back to that Durga Saptashati.
Okay.
we actually had Yami Gautam on the show.
Yeah.
She said that she reads it regularly.
Right.
And I've heard of the Durga Saptashati, but I never understood why one needs to read it regularly. Like, how does that affect you?
So that depends on how you want to read it. So you have Hanuman Chalisa. Some of us read it every day. Some of us read it when we are frightened of something. Some of us read it on Tuesdays. Some of us read it when asked to read by an astrologer. So that depends on you. So I personally read it every Navratri. And there is a 9-day or 7-day Parayan that you can do it, and it's you have to read it strictly as per that. So day 1 you read this, day 2 you read this, day 3, or you read it all in one go, which takes a lot of energy. So a lot of pandits do that because they are used to reading it in one go. I find it a little difficult because Sanskrit chanting takes a lot of strength. But it depends on every day. If somebody is reading it, that's the level at which they are connecting with that energy.
Sanskrit chanting takes a lot of strength. Means?
When you chant loudly, you need a lot of energy to chant.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is it recommended to chant loudly when it comes to mantras?
So they can be chanted at multiple levels. One is when you chant the regular Vaikhari chant that we call it, which means your Vani se chant kar rahe ho. With your voice you are chanting. There's something called Upanshu chant, which is when you are chanting but only your lips are moving. So for example, if I'm chanting some mantra, you can't hear, but my head can hear and my lips are moving. That's one. Then there is completely mental, which you just manas jap, so which you do internally. So there are different levels.
And I think there's one where the mantra chants you.
That's called ajapa jap. Yeah.
What happens there?
So the mantra will keep ringing in your head, and if you attain that, then you really connect to that energy. I've had that experience at couple of places where you go to a particular deity's temple, and the chant of that devata's mantra will happen in your head on its own.
You can hear it?
Yes. It's actually called Pashyanti. I mean, you can see it, you can't hear it. In your head, you actually see. So if I ask you to close your eyes and think of a song or anything, you will actually see it and not hear it. So you actually... But it dominates your head. So that is all you will hear.
Okay. This is a mystical experience?
You could say, yeah.
Okay.
Could say.
Speaking of the mystical experiences, you said that the Saptashati reveals cosmic truths.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So there is this concept called Yatha Pinde Tatha Brahmande, or Yatha Brahmande Tatha, which means whatever is happening in the cosmic thing is repeating at different levels. There's this typical triangle that we draw, and then you have within triangles, and each triangle is complete in itself. So whatever happens at the cosmic level is also happening at our level, is also happening at a microcosm level, which means inside you also there are a lot of universes which are also undergoing the same thing. And just to put it very lightly, imagine a bacteria in your gut which lives for, let's say, half an hour. Right? Now, if that bacteria thinks of you as Brahma, look at the lifetime ratio between if you take a ratio between the lifetime of this bacteria and your lifetime, it will roughly work out to be what we think is the ratio between our lifetime and our Brahma's lifetime.
So we could be a bacteria in the stomach of Brahma.
It could be anything. Yeah, it could be a million things.
Okay.
We are somewhere, it's exactly like this. So if you look at how time is defined in India, it is defined in terms of Brahma's life. And then the exact calculations thereon. So, so, everything is cyclic. So you have different cycles of creation and destruction. So you have a larger universe that is created. Within that, there are smaller universes which are getting created and dissolved, not destructed, but dissolved back. So something is created and then it goes back at different times, different cycles, think of different concentric circles. So first level we connect is at the level at which we exist. Our existence level. That's why we see them as we see our devatas in human form. We portray them in human form. The next level could be either microcosm, which we call it Sukshma Sharira, or macrocosm, which is the bigger cosmic, Purush, we call it Purush and Parikriti. It can be Shiva and Shakti. You can give different names to them. So different levels is what you start. You can start connecting with those different levels after you are done understanding this level.
Okay. You have to tell me about the difference between Mahalakshmi and Lakshmi versus Ma Saraswati and so.
Yeah. So as per Durga Saptashati, in the end of it, it has a section where it explains creation. Okay. So as per this text, there is an Adi Shakti, which is Mahalakshmi.
What is Adi Shakti?
The Adi is initial, the first one. Okay. Adi means the first one. So that's the primary Shakti, which is Mahalakshmi. And then when she wants to create this world, she divides herself into three parts, which is Mahasaraswati, Mahalakshmi, and Mahakali. So Mahakali has Tamas, Mahalakshmi has Rajas, but she has all the three because she's the primary force. And then Mahasaraswati has Sattva, dominant. So any creation will have all these three gunas, but there is a dominant force in all of us. When you meet people also, you find some of them are very sattvic in nature. It's not that they don't have tamas and rajas, but that's dominant. So these three she creates, and from there she creates Shiva, Parvati, Vishnu, Lakshmi, and Brahma and Saraswati. And then they are intermingled. That's how the gunas intermingle and the whole world is created. So from that perspective, we are all some permutation combination of these three gunas.
Okay.
So what Mahalakshmi created was these three Adi Shaktis, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati, Mahakali, and from there came these three couples who intermingled and then created the whole universe.
Okay. I know that Shaivism, Vaishnavism, and Shakt has like three different versions of the origins.
Yes.
This is probably the Shakti.
This is the Shakti version, and they have all three parallel of this. And it doesn't matter because when you define that Adi Shakti, whichever sect you follow, that's actually Nirgun Nirakar. It doesn't have a shape and a form, and you can't define it with any attribute. You can only define what they create from that is can be defined with some attributes. The ultimate thing doesn't have any attribute. So we don't know what it is, or we can't define.
So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out this playlist for more videos just like this. It's TRS Clips.